Hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have a Protoss vs Zerg from the round of 3 in the HP Trophy number 2 Group A stage. And yeah, this is going to be a very cool matchup. If you have not seen game number 1 or game number 2, go ahead and check those out in the annotations below. But if you're still around, I'm going to assume you have. So let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of Entombed Valley, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Root. It is going to be ROOTToD. He is an ex-Warcraft 3 player, currently up 2-0 with his team against his opponents. We're going to see if he can take this game. He takes the entire best-of-5 series, but I'm sure that his opponent spawning up in the top right-hand corner as the orange Zerg has something to say about that. He's going to be representing Team Acer, and his name is Bly. He is currently down 0-2, which means it is a make or break in this game. If you wanted to see what AcerBly does in a series when he has to win a game, this is going to be that. He is in fact, Ukrainian Zerg, and this is actually his favorite matchup, I believe. So we're going to see how comfortable he is with this matchup. We do actually end up seeing pretty normal stuff coming out of both these players for now, right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Wait for these players to kind of kick off this matchup and see where they're headed with their builds. Now, one thing I do want to note is Todd is kind of known as being one of those players. If you've ever watched someone such as Grubby, Todd always kind of reminded me a little bit in the terms of playstyle as Grubby, which is kind of not too surprising considering they are former teammates from Warcraft 3. But you know, Todd has a style which kind of often operates on a razor thin edge, where he'll go for something that, you know, you have to control perfectly, because you can lose very easily if you just miscontrol a little bit. And you know, you often might be thinking, yes, that's how a lot of Protosses end up playing. Oh, hold that thought. Whoa, we see something really interesting coming out from Bly, actually going for the hatchery, the proxy hatchery over at Todd's base. Now, really interesting to see. We even see Rhett saying, okay, if he just makes a cannon right now, it should be fine, yeah. And even Nerchio, or AcerNerchio, agreeing and saying, yeah, that's all that should happen. But a really interesting decision from Bly. This is going to, in fact, delay his own expansion. You have to remember that. But one interesting note is that it's going to force this kind of reaction. It's going to throw down force all these probes to be pulled off of mining, and actually even this cannon being forced. This cannon was going to be built anyways, but the second cannon, definitely not quite as common. It was not necessarily going to be forced, but we do see quite a few Zargans coming out. We do see some droning up behind all this as well, as it doesn't look like actually an expansion being taken quite yet behind all this, but this is going to allow potentially a Zargan to swing up. No, doesn't feel safe actually doing it. So not really working out too well for Bly, as his expansion has still not been thrown down, even though he has droned up a good bit. He's up to 17 drones. He does not have an expansion. He still has already produced all 6 of these Zerglings, or actually I believe it was potentially 8, as I think 1 or 2 ended up dying. But I mean, he's just not in a great position economically, and now we even see Todd getting the scout off, seeing that there is this expansion over here. Are we going to see some proxy little cannon shenanigans going down over here? Very interesting. We could end up seeing something like that as just to delay this expansion even further. I mean, what is Bly going to do unless if he does not scout this? As we even see this probe kind of poking around, but we do see Bly being very, very responsible, sending that Zergling around. He's going to easily scout out this little proxy pylon, and that's actually going to force a cancel. Todd knows it, as that's going to be a very difficult way to cannon rush when your opponent, when they actually know about it and they already have Zerglings out. But we do see that other pylon already picked off. It's going to be a very, very late third expansion from Bly if he decides to take it, though. We do see that drone moving down. Is being taken around the 6-minute mark, and honestly, think about it. What has Todd really committed to? Yes, he was forced to build this extra cannon, and he did have 5 or 6 probes not mining for a little bit. But I don't believe that the expansion or anything of Todd was delayed by a full 2 minutes, as it would seem AcerBly's expansion was really delayed. So it's going to be very difficult for Bly to come back into this game. We can see he is droning up like a madman. He's about to have a huge influx of drones. Another 5 drones about to pop. But honestly, at this point, you as a Zerg player, you kind of want to be a little bit ahead at this point, because pretty soon you're going to want to start using all of your money, start going for things like getting that layer, throwing down the Roach Warren, doing all that kind of stuff. The time for droning is going to gonna have kind of pass in a little bit because your Protoss opponent is going to be starting to put on a little bit of pressure very soon. We can even see a couple of Zealots moving out across the map. Todd was delayed a little bit. I would expect him to do some kind of push, or at least try and take a third sometime in the next 2 or 3 minutes. But we're going to have to wait and see exactly how he's going to end up deciding to play this out. Is he going to go for that fast third, or is he going to go for some kind of big 2-base push? I'd actually really agree with him just doing some kind of big 2-base push. I feel like that would be a very, very strong thing to do right now. As we even actually end up seeing Bly going for that lair now, and still droning up a little bit because he needs to catch up in that drone count. We can even see he's only at 33 drones, going to go up to about 40. Yeah, there it is, 40 drones. But still, he does not have any units in the meanwhile. This is, you can even see that even though they are even on workers, Todd has actually had the opportunity to go ahead and tech up. He has actually a couple of gateways over here, so you have up to 4 gateways. Can put on a little bit of light pressure. And where does he actually have that Twilight Council? Oh my god, we even see a couple of proxy pylons being placed down, and of course Bly has no idea about those proxy pylons. And oh, actually getting a nice little stalker catch. Actually ends up getting a nice catch from Bly. That's definitely going to help out in kind of thwarting a little bit of that pressure. We do see a nice pylon placed down to block any of those Zerglings from running in, getting a good scout up. There we do see it's going to be a 6-gate blink stalker push, I believe, as we see. Oh, actually, no, this is actually going to be a 7-gate blink stalker push. Now, you might be wondering what the difference is. Well, 7 gateways is a little bit more indicative of a bit of an all-in. He still can transition out of it eventually, but it's going to be a lot harder than with 6 gates, as 7 gateways worth of production is quite a bit, and that's quite a heavy investment. It can be very difficult to actually find any money to actually take your third. You just see a couple of Zealots warped in. It's going to be kind of nice, considering he knows that Bly is really stuck on that Zergling kind of composition. So a couple of those Zealots are going to be very useful, especially with those +1 upgrades, to be able to do a good amount of damage to these Zerglings, especially since those Zerglings have no Carapace upgrades. We do see a Spire is going to be ready to complete in just a little bit, and Blink about to finish up. I could actually end up saving a couple of these Stalkers, as Blink does not actually finish up in time for those Stalkers to really be able to use it. But as we do see now Todd moving into third of Bly. What is Bly's response? Looks like he's going to be waiting for some of those Zerglings. Now we do see a lot of the drones trying to do a bit of a retreat, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out. So many of those drones end up going down. We can even see already 12 workers have been killed, and now with a blink forward, you can pick up a couple more. Now we do see a couple of those mules are going to be popping in just a little bit, but to what end? I mean, and now Fnatic Todd has done, or sorry, ROOTToD has done so much damage, and now he's going to be doing a lot of damage over at that third expansion. The Mutals are going to be coming in, and now it looks like Todd's army is going to be a bit trapped right now, and now it looks like Bly actually going to be going for the proxy pylon. Bit of an interesting decision, as he will be able to cut out some of those reinforcements, but now it's do or die. He has to kill this army, or he is just going to lose this game outright. We do see quite a few Spine Crawlers coming in over here. And honestly, at this point, Todd can probably back out, but he realizes that he can do a lot of damage like this, and some great Blink Viper coming out from Todd, and oh my god, he is not really taking a whole lot of damage on any of those Stalkers, but now we finally do see a blink forward from those Stalkers, gonna allow those Zealots to get in over there and take a lot of damage from the Spine Crawlers, and also do a lot of damage to those Zerglings. But now we see the Mutals count is basically reduced to nothing, and now where are the units of Bly? They are basically non-existent. A couple of those Zerglings are going to be popping out, but still those Zerglings are still sitting on 0 upgrades, and now we do end up seeing that those Zealots are going to rip them apart. The Stalkers winning, and there is the GG from Bly. So very well played by both these players, but it looks like it's going to be a 3-0 sweep for Todd and Rhett. So very well played, and yeah, really a strong play from Todd, be able to hold off any of that kind of like crazy little Zergling attempts to run by, getting that nice little wall off and everything. But honestly, I have to say, I really feel like this game kind of came down to AcerBly going for that proxy hatchery, really not working out for him. It was really set kind of really far behind in terms of getting his natural expansion as well as his third expansion, and yeah, it just set him so far behind. And credit where credit is due, ROOTToD reacted perfectly to this. I really agree. Again, as I mentioned before, doing that 2-base all 7-gate pressure, and it worked out beautifully. I mean, look at how scary of an army he still had left over. He was about to finish up a Dark Shrine if that wasn't bad enough as it is. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be that. So it looks like Rhett and Todd end up advancing. Well, it's still the group stages, so you're not really advancing or anything just yet. But they are going to be put to 1-1 in their group, whereas Nerchio and Bly are also going to be put to 1-1 in their group. So even though Nerchio and Bly are currently end up losing this game, they're still going to be in a good position to come out ahead in this group as top 2 advance. This is group number A from the HP Trophy number 2 once again. So thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this commentary in any capacity whatsoever. And if you did, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you didn't, go ahead and leave a comment below. Explain to me, you know, what kind of stuff didn't you like? What would you like to see out of my cast and all of that kind of good stuff. Any kind of advice that you have. Anyways, that's pretty much going to be it. One quick note, if you're watching this, I don't know if this is going to come up in time, but go ahead and tune into twitch.tv/FearDragon64 around 1 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Eastern, as I'm going to be actually casting a show match between Team Rest in Peace Z's, and I believe it's that's actually, oh god, I believe it's the StarCraft team for the site Something Awful. It's called the Z team or something, and their opponents is actually going to be Clamazon, and that's actually the group of people who play the AHGL tournament for Amazon, and yeah, it's going to be a really interesting show match. I'm not actually sure about too many of the details quite just yet, but go ahead and tune into that. It's going to be, once again, 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern, so go ahead and watch that if you're really interested to see either of those groups of players play, or if you just want to see me cast, or if you just want to see some awesome games coming up, as I can definitely guarantee you, preparing for that, has some nice little graphics set up and all that good stuff. So yeah, I haven't done a live cast for a while. It's going to be a nice little transition back and also help kind of warm me up again for those balance battles. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, yeah, last note. Send replays that you want casted to feardragon64@gmail.com. Please, please, please. I'd love to cast some of your guys' replays. That's it. That's all. Later, guys.